There are sounds the woods make at night that you learn to recognize. Wind, branches, animals passing through. And then, there are sounds that don't belong to any of those things. Sounds that are too slow to be random, too deliberate to be natural, too patient to be anything that should be out there. Something circled our tent for 4 hours straight, never getting closer, never moving further away, never stopping, just circling, like it was waiting for something, like it already knew we had nowhere to go. We tried everything that night. Flashlights, noise, checking outside. Nothing worked. Nothing. Until I reached into my bag and found something my grandmother had put there without telling me. That was the night I learned that sometimes the most important thing you bring into the dark is something you didn't know you were carrying. My two closest friends were Daniel and Sarah. We had been planning this trip for 2 years. No phone signal, no campsite amenities, just a stretch of national forest 3 hours from the city, somewhere Daniel had hiked before. We set up camp while there was still daylight, tent by 6, fire by 7. By 9, we had exactly what we came for. One fire. The specific silence of a forest that hasn't decided yet whether it likes you being there. I want to remember that last hour before we turned in, because it was perfect, and because of what it preceded. We went to sleep around 10. I woke up at 1:17 a.m., not from a sound, from the sudden absolute certainty, before I heard anything at all, that something outside our tent was aware of us. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Not random movement, not an animal passing through, deliberate, measured, moving in a complete circle around our tent. The footsteps were slow and consistent, circling with no clear goal and without stopping. And when we rushed out with a light, there was nothing, no trace of anything at all. That is exactly what happened to us. One full circle, then another, then another. I reached over and touched Daniel's arm. He was already awake. I heard Sarah's breathing change. All three of us, listening. None of us speaking. Daniel reached for the flashlight. I grabbed his wrist. Something told me, turning that light on was exactly the wrong thing to do. So we sat, in the dark, and we listened. 1 hour passed, then 2. At the 2-hour mark, the footsteps stopped. 20 seconds of silence. We exhaled. Then, from directly in front of the zip, 6 inches from our faces, a sound came through the tent fabric. Not a voice, not an animal, something between the two, like pressure given shape, like sound made wrong on purpose. Sarah grabbed my hand. I couldn't feel my fingers. The circling started again, slower this time, like it had learned something from the 2 hours before. Like patience was not a strategy for it. It was simply its natural state. Daniel whispered, barely sound, "We need to get to the car." I whispered back, "It's between us and the trail." We all knew it. The trailhead was a 1/4 mile through the trees. Whatever was out there was between us and every exit we had. By 3 a.m., Sarah was shaking. By 3:30, Daniel had gone completely still. The kind of stillness that isn't calm. The stillness of someone who has run out of ideas. I reached into my bag. Not for my phone, no signal since sunset. Not for anything rational. Something, some part of me I cannot account for, simply told me to reach into my bag. And my hand found something in the front pocket that I did not remember packing. Small, worn, fits in one hand. My grandmother's travel Bible. She had helped me pack the afternoon before. I found out later, when I wasn't looking, she had slipped it in. She had carried it for 40 years. Daniel whispered, "What is that?" I said, "My grandmother's Bible." Silence. Then Sarah, very quietly, said 2 words, "Read it." I opened it by feel. No idea what page, no plan, just opened it and started reading. Out loud. Into the tent, into the dark around it, into whatever had been walking that circle for 4 hours. Not dramatically, not performing, the way my grandmother reads, like the words are simply facts that don't need volume to be true. I didn't know until morning light what chapter I had opened to. Psalm 91. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. The circling slowed. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. It stopped. Not the way sound stops when something walks away. The way sound stops when something makes a decision. Instantly. Finally. Completely. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness. I kept reading. All of it. Verse. Twice. Then I closed the Bible. The three of us sat without speaking for a very long time. At 5:30 a.m., first light came through the tent. We packed in 12 minutes. We walked to the car. No tracks on the ground around our tent. No marks on the trees. No sign of anything that had moved out there for 4 hours. We drove 3 hours home without speaking. I called my grandmother when I got home. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I know. I asked her how she knew to put it there. She said, I didn't know anything. I just felt like you should have it, so I put it in. I have thought about that answer every single day since. She didn't know. She just felt like I should have it, like something understood what was going to be in those woods, and made sure the answer was already in my bag before I knew the question. Daniel doesn't camp anymore. Sarah does, but never without her own Bible now. I carry my grandmother's travel Bible in every bag I pack, always. Not because I'm afraid of what might be out there, because I know now what comes into the dark with me. And whatever circled that tent for 4 hours, it knew that too. That's why it stopped the moment I started reading. Not because the words were loud, because they were true.